Hey, all, today we are going to keep talking about expressions and equations, and now we are going to do some word problems we might call practical problems. And so we're just going to take the language and try to make it look like something we've seen before. And so take a second here and read this problem, and I'll talk about how to set it up and solve it. So here we're talking about this person, Raul, taking a taxi from work. The taxi company charges a fee. Whenever we're talking about a fee, that's something that we're going to pay no matter how long the ride is or how far we go. That fees are things that we would call constants. We had constants when we talked about expressions and also when we have equations, and those are numbers with no variables. And so this fee of $3 is a constant. And then we have this thing where it says 28 cents per mile. Per means to multiply. And that means we're going to be multiplying by something that we don't know yet. We don't know how far this cab is going to go. So we can set up an expression here to represent how much it costs to rent the cab. So it's $3 plus, problem literally says plus, 0.28 or 28 cents per mile. And you can write mile, or you could write it like this, and you can say that miles is going to be X. It's okay, whichever way you want to use it. You could use the letter M. That might be better. All of these are totally acceptable, whatever works best for you. And then that's going to be equal to the cost. And then it says that he goes 23 miles from work to home. So whichever way you set this up, whether you use the word mile or you used X or you used M because that means miles and that's shorter, 23 miles is something that we would plug in there. And so we could go to Desmos. We could tell the calculator that M is 23. We don't have to capitalize because it's not X or Y. And then we could tell it what our expression is. It's $3 plus 0.28 or 28 cents per mile. And we use M. And it's going to tell us that it costs Raul $9.44 to get home. So we're using the words to write something that we've seen before. And I don't care which way you represent miles. You can do it using mile, X, or M, whichever makes the best sense to you. And then we can use Desmos if we need to help us find out how much Raul owes for his ride. And so all of these are going to go the same. Let's look for keywords and important values that we can use to build our expression or equation. So pause here, take a second, read this, and then I'll talk about it. So here we're renting a motorcycle. We see that the total spent is $140. I'll just start by writing that. In order to get to that total charge, we have a fee of $20. So that means we're going to pay that no matter what. That's a constant. Plus $15 per hour. That means we are going to be multiplying 15 by some number of hours. I'll just call it H. And so we want to know how long did Miss Collins rent this bike for. So $140 is the total she spent. $20 fee plus $15 times the number of hours will also get you the total amount that you spent. So these two things are equal to each other. So we have an equation we can solve. And so I can move this 20 over here. And when I switch sides, I switch signs. And I get 120. And then to get rid of the 15, I'm going to divide both sides by 15. And I'm going to get that Miss Collins rented that for 8 hours. So again, I'm just using the words and the important numbers to try and set up an equation or expression. And then in the expression, I simplified or evaluated. And here I have an equation so I can solve it. So let's do a couple more. Pause this one. And then I pause this one and read it, and then press play, and we'll talk about it. So I have these two cell phone companies, and they have different ways to calculate how much you owe them. And so this first company, Wire One, they have a fee. Again, that's $20 constant plus 10 cents per text message. So I'll call T text message. And then we have this U phone. They charge a fee of $10 plus 15 cents per text message. And I'm going to use the same letter because we're talking about the same thing, text messages. And so we want to know how many text messages you would have to send in order to get the same bill from each company. You can see that they bill you in different ways. They have different fees, and then they have different rates per text message. We want to know how many text messages would make you get a bill that is the same for both companies. And so the word "the same" indicates something in math. The same in math is equal. And so we can say that those two things are equal. And when they are equal, that's the number of text messages we send that will get the same bill. And so we can solve this like a regular equation. I'm going to move my t's to one side. So I'm going to move this over here. So when I switch sides, I switch signs. So that becomes a negative 0.15 t. I'll move this 20 over here. When I switch sides, I switch signs. And so that becomes a negative 20. I get negative 0.05 t over here. And over here, I get negative 10. Please be sure to use Desmos if you need it. So I'm going to divide by negative 0.05 on both sides. Oops. And I do believe I missed a negative sign in there. And so I get 200. So that means if I send 200 text messages, it doesn't matter which plan I have, I will have the same bill. So as always, if you need help with this, please make sure that you ask. Make sure you stick around all the way till the end. You watch this video all the way to the end, and you answer the questions that pop up here so that you can get full credit. If you need help doing those questions, always, always, always raise your hand and ask for help. Good luck.